Oh, I love it when this happens. Welcome to the first installment of Custom Wisdom. And before I get started, I just want to tell you, I went ahead and recorded this whole video, and at the very end, found out that after like 2 minutes, my microphone had become unplugged. So that's always great when you start out that way. So, Custom Wisdom, what is it, and what are these videos going to be about? Well, these videos are going to be a little more serious. I like to joke and kid, in case you haven't noticed, but every once in a while, I do like to throw out some life experience that might help you guys, especially if it has to do with working on cars. This first episode, the total and complete hit job your own mind will do on you when your kids are all gone. Empty nest syndrome. What I just experienced, basically, I'll go. This is a theme that I'll hit on a couple of times. This is my experience. I can't speak to things that I haven't experienced, so I wish I could. If I do that, then I'm just regurgitating what I've read, and that's not the same thing. So, anyway, what I just experienced, we've got several kids, and our last two twins, one of them has already gone off to college. The other one's about to go in a couple of days. So I'm going through this right now as I make this video, and I'm hoping that it'll help somebody out there. And there are really two audiences for this video. The first audience are, and the first section is for guys who have kids that are all grown like me, and they just left or about to. And then the second section is going to be for guys that still have time, older or younger guys that still have little kids, and they can still make adjustments. And getting back to the whole experience thing, man, I know divorce can really complicate these situations. And I'm going to do my best to include at least one suggestion for dudes who are divorced, but that wasn't my situation. So I don't know if I'll be much help to you. Because look, man, for one reason or another, depending on your custody arrangement, you can't see your kids probably if you're like most guys, and that would just suck. And you have my sympathy, believe me. Now, for guys who are older, let's start off there. Still married, or you're with the mother of your kids, but you can't go back in time to change things because the kids are basically gone. Here's what I experienced. The first was this overwhelming feeling like I couldn't stop thinking or seeing the past, all these opportunities that I missed to spend time with my kids. And it really messes with your mind. It may even feel like your kids have died and you're never going to see them again. And that's horrible. I didn't have that experience, but I have heard people say that. Now, one thing that will make this worse is your wife and kids probably complained over the years because of all the time you spend fixing the family cars. Now, these complaints all come home to roost, man, and they come home right now when you're going through this. And all the time, that includes all the time that you spent surfing the web, out with your friends, etc. And I'm not going to say that all guys experience this. I have no idea, but I know many do. And here's the kicker, man. Guys, as hard as this is for you, it is way worse for the mom, especially if she was a stay-at-home whose job was basically to raise the kids for 20 or 30 years, depending on how many you have and what their ages are. Imagine that, man. Like all of a sudden, it's just over, boom, gone, dead. Like that is really hard. What you're going through is nothing compared to that. So what do you do if you're an older guy like me and it's too late, the kids are out? Well, pay attention to the wife first, man. Like, don't overlook what I just said. Help her and try to communicate that you feel horrible too. But trust me, it is highly unlikely that your sadness is even close to what she's feeling. And I know we live in an era where there are same-sex marriages with adoptions and all that. Look, I can't speak to that. That's not where my experience is. So if you're watching this and you're in one of those situations, I'm sorry, but I don't know if you're going to find any help here, man. But there may be other YouTube channels that can. So I highly suggest you go find them. Now, getting back to guys like me, let yourself be sad. I almost didn't put this in the video, but screw it. I bawled like a little girl in private, right? Nobody was around. Didn't want the wife and kids to freak out. There was still one at home. So there's no need for them to see that. And you know what? This will pass, but let yourself feel that sadness. Cause it's, if you don't, it can cause all sorts of other problems. And there's a joke I'll get to in a second. The other thing you can do is talk to other guys who went through this, man. That you probably have friends your own age or older even. Use them. Get some advice. And one thing you need to pat yourself on the back, and I'll do it for you if you can't. And in the end, you stuck with your family. I'm not going to say that you didn't make mistakes or it wasn't easy, but if you're going through this now with your wife or the mom, you're there. You helped raise, one or more kids to whatever age it is when they leave, and that's good. Congratulations. You may not have been the best parent or husband or significant other, but you did more than probably, I don't know, let me make up a statistic. 75% of guys do. And you did a decent job. Unfortunately, that's the kind of society we live in where kids have no dads these days. So, 75% is kind of a low bar, but hell, keeping the family together, keeping them housed and fed, then sending them off to college or to live on their own, that's an accomplishment. And it's also the normal order of things, right? That's what's supposed to happen. So trust me, this sadness is also what's supposed to happen, and you're going to get through it. And again, you're going to get through it faster than your wife. I should mention there's an upside, and I haven't yet experienced it, but I'm starting to kind of see it. And I'm getting the sense that once I've adjusted to all this, I'm going to have more time. And maybe I can fix up some cool cars for the kids to use when they turn 21 or something. And I can go on dates again with the wife or work on the marriage. Trust me, if you're like me, after spending 2 or more decades where the attention was focused on the kids, your marriage may need some work. Now, what I would also strongly suggest is don't try to be the tough guy. And here's the joke. I love Bill Burr, the comedian, and he has this joke where he's like, guys are taught to take all their emotions, shove them deep into your chest so that they can come out later as a heart attack or road rage, right? That's basically how we operate. But the problem is you're a freaking human being. So let yourself have those human weaknesses for once, because in this case, guess what? You earned it. I don't recommend like breaking down at work or anything like that. Don't start bawling in front of your boss. But, you get to the car, get it home. Hey, man, that's fair game, free territory. Do what you got to do. And guess what? Someday you may get the chance to make it up to your kids or tell them, get the chance to tell them what you need to say. So definitely be ready for that. Now, I'm not going to tell you what you do to make it up or what it is you need to say. You're not me. And quite frankly, I have no clue yet. I'm not there. But I will say this, if you can afford it, maybe you want to start talking to the wife about helping her plan family get-togethers that everyone likes to do. Camping, a beach rental, off-season, a trip, anything you can afford. And again, include your wife, because this might help her a lot to know that you care and that you want to reconnect the family as often and as soon as possible, because that's what she wants. I guarantee you that's what she wants. All right, so that's it for my advice to older guys with kids who are older like mine and left or in the middle of leaving. For you younger guys or older guys, but your kids are still little and you still live with the mom. First of all, let me get this out of the way. I am really jealous, especially if you're taking the time to watch this video and treat it seriously. Back when I had younger kids, YouTube, I think, it wasn't even around. So, this is advice I would give to a younger doc, one who thought that, my career was the most important thing, or writing science fiction or fixing family cars. Look, anything in the past that I put ahead of my family, I am now remembering vividly and weighing in retrospect and coming to one conclusion. I screwed up the balance. Look, you have to work to help pay for family expenses, house, food, transportation. You need to do that. Those are requirements. Those aren't optional unless you're fabulously independently wealthy, which most of us aren't. You also need hobbies like writing, carpentry, or whatever. You need time for yourself. So what should you as a younger dad or older dad with little kids do if you like working on cars, if that's a necessary part of helping to keep family expenses in check? Well, you probably can't take your kids to work every day, so that's not an option, and they have to go to school. So where do you compromise? First of all, this is what I would do if I could go back in time. I'd include them as much as possible in everything I did, including the car work. And I would also do your best. I would also do my best to not get angry or frustrated, because the last thing you need to do is budget these time and activities only to fill it with you yelling at them. I'm going to gamble that those aren't the kinds of memories you want to build with your kids. So in order to kind of help prevent that, budget more time for each activity, whether you're including them in their hobbies or car repair or whatever, because you're going to have to teach them things. They're going to be asking questions. And including them in the process, is going to extend that amount of time it takes to get the job done. So if you've already budgeted for a large amount of time, hey, what do you got to worry about, right? Hopefully that'll help with the anger part or frustration part. Take them to the parts store, or the hobby store or whatever. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but trust me, those nightmare stories of having to deal with your kids in the store, yeah, they suck at the time you're going through it, but they become priceless memories. I swear, I don't know how that happens, but they do. At least they did with me. Don't include them in dangerous aspects of what you're doing. No cutting torches, welding. Don't let them under the car. If you're using a wire brush attachment to get rust off, it's probably better they do not inhale the rust particles, or get wire bristles in their eyes. Dudes, use your common sense. The last thing you want to do is maim or even worse to your children, or do even worse to your children. And again, all the above is not just car repair. It includes your hobbies. Basically, you want to use every opportunity you have to find excuses to spend time with you. Why? Because you don't have enough time. Trust me, if I could go back and stab myself in the eye every time I thought, oh, I'll do that with them later, right now I need to do X, Y, or Z, I would go back in time and stab myself. Let me say that again. You do not have enough time. 20 years goes by in a flash. Now, there are a couple of important caveats. You need time for yourself. You can't work all the time, spend kids all the time, blah, 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 blah. You got to spend time for yourself. And that's the trick in the balance, one that I got wrong. My only advice is try harder than I did. And then there's a second caveat. There's no guarantee that any of this is going to actually shield you from the feeling of loss when the kids do leave the nest. I don't know that it'll shield you because I didn't do these things, but try. At the very least, you'll know deep down that, you made every effort you could, and maybe that'll help. I should say, I just said I didn't try. I did try, but not as hard as I should have, or as early as I should have. And here's another thing. Once your kids get cell phones and computers, it may be too late, because then they'll certainly be interested in doing stuff on those more than fixing a car or doing something else. And geez, I wish they had never been invented. Those are the worst. Those things are evil. So I would highly recommend holding off on getting them those things as long as you can. Now, last, for you divorced guys with little kids, all of this applies to you, and maybe even more. You, like I said earlier, you only get short periods of time with the kids. I might ignore car repair and do that in your free time, not with the kids, so that you can use the short time you have and pack it with fun stuff that they want to do. And yeah, of course, they're going to have homework and stuff, so you're going to still have to face the balancing act. But don't squander your time. There's not enough of it. If you're telling yourself you'll have time to do that later, you're wrong. You won't have time to do it later. Get off your butt. Do whatever it is that you thought of doing with your kids right now or as soon as possible. That's it. To wrap up, regardless of your age or situation, let me tell you what I noticed when the kids left. Silence. The silence in your home will be deafening, and will hit, if you're like me, will hit your chest like a ton of whatever, bricks, weight, whatever. And there's also a lack of anyone needing your help that for some reason you notice. And it's not a good lack of anyone needing your help. It's kind of like, what good are you? And I think I already mentioned this, but the house is going to be empty. So when you come home, you may have a feeling of dread. And overall, you'll have a constant kind of feeling of being lost. Like, now all of a sudden you only have really one person in your life. And with that person, the wife or mom, there may be repair that needs to be done. And, those are just, those can be daunting and a horrible set of feelings and circumstances to have to go through. And I'm not saying that, by taking my advice in this video, it's going to solve it. What I'm hoping is that it'll just help, that's all. And I would always recommend, if you need professional help, go get it. Please go get it. Because if this is going on for months and months and you're not pulling yourself out of it, you may need that help. So don't try and be the tough guy again and just soldier on. Okay, well, that was a depressing video, but one that I really wanted to do. Women, if you're watching this and you have little kids, but your guy is making some of the same mistakes I did, show them this video. Will it help? Probably not. And I'm just being honest. The problem is that most of us guys, when we're younger, we're stupid. We don't even see that we're making mistakes. until long after those kinds of mistakes are made. So again, it probably won't help, but try. And guys with kids who are gone or about to leave, see if this advice helped you. Show this video to your wife and let her know that you finally kind of get it. And in either situation, I really do wish you guys all the best. This is tough stuff. Raising a family today is probably much harder than it ever has been in the past, with all the junk you got to deal with out there, Facebook, etc. So listen, good luck. Doc out. Oh, you made it to the end. That's awesome. Listen, I'm Doc. I'm the one who's, the voice behind these videos. And I really appreciate you taking the time to actually watch the whole thing. That's fantastic. If you've got time, if you want to, if you like the video, hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the bell button so you get notified of new videos when I put them up. I'm going to try and do one a week. And I'm going to do a bunch of Instagram stuff, so make sure you follow me there and on Twitter. Instagram's going to be the shorter stuff. I don't have any merchandise yet. I'm planning to, as the channel grows. If I succeed, I'll get some merch. For now, if you really want to help me in another way, you like these videos enough, I'm going to put links to my books in the description of the video. I'm a science fiction author in my spare time as well, so I'm juggling a lot of balls. But anyway, I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you at the next one. Hey, do me a favor and turn this junk off. I don't know how to deal with tech.